Welcome to Abraham Lincoln's World. My name is Ed Steers. I'm the author of several books on Abraham Lincoln, including Blood on the Moon, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and the upcoming book, Getting Right with Lincoln, correcting misconceptions about our greatest president. In this video, I wanted to talk to you about the alleged photograph of the dead Lincoln. The photographs that allegedly were taken of Lincoln as he lay in bed in the Peterson house following his death on the early morning hours of Saturday, April the 15th, 1865. Now, photographs of deceased or dead people, known as post-mortem photographs or mortuary photographs, while today seemingly odd or uncommon, were very common during the Victorian period, often known as memento mori, that is a memento or a memory of a loved one who has passed away, was very common practice at the time. There are photographs of young boys holding the hands of their deceased brother in his coffin, photographs of a mother holding her deceased baby in her arms, of a father in his coffin surrounded by family members. There are numerous types of these photographs that were taken during this Victorian period. Now, we know of only one authentic photograph of Lincoln in his coffin, and it occurred while he was put out for viewing or on display in New York's City Hall. Following his death and the ceremonies that were held in Washington, D.C., Lincoln was transported back to his hometown of Springfield, Illinois, a 1,700-mile journey. And the train that carried Lincoln's body stopped in numerous cities, most of the capitals in the states that he passed through. And in each stop, the open casket was placed on display so people could come in and view Lincoln and pay their respects. Well, while in New York City, Lincoln's coffin was placed on display in New York City Hall. And before it was open to the public to come in, a rather well-known New York photographer by the name of Jeremiah Gurney set up his camera in an overlooking balcony and took a photograph of Lincoln in his coffin. Now, when Secretary of War Edwin Stanton learned of this, he became extremely upset and demanded that any glass plates and prints that Gurney had were immediately confiscated and sent to him. The presumption is that Stanton then destroyed the glass plates and prints. But we learned that many years later, in the 1950s, a young boy by the name of Ronald Reitfeld, while doing a research project for school, was searching through the John Hay papers, one of Lincoln's secretaries, that were in the Illinois State Historical Society, and Ronald Reitfeld came across one of the prints that Gurney had made of Lincoln in his coffin. And so we have that print today, but it is the only known authenticated print of Lincoln. Now, when Lincoln's body was transported from Ford's Theater across the street to the Peterson house and laid in the bed in the back bedroom, known as the death room, the first thing that the attending physicians did was strip Lincoln naked. And Lincoln remained naked the entire evening through the early morning hours until the moment of his death, at which point Stanton had the room evacuated, the door closed and locked, and a military guard put in front of it, allowing no one to enter the room. He then held a cabinet meeting with several members of Lincoln's cabinet in the parlor immediately next to the death room. That meeting of cabinet members and Stanton lasted approximately 90 minutes. And when it was over, Major General Rucker entered the building with several members of the Veteran Reserve Corps in a wooden coffin, They then wrapped the naked body of Abraham Lincoln in an American flag, placed him in the coffin, and transported him back to the White House, where he was taken to the second-floor guest room, where an autopsy was performed on him. And so we have today two photographs that bear directly on this question. After everyone completely evacuated the Peterson house, Julius Olke, a well-known Washington photographer who actually boarded at the Peterson house, set up his camera and took a photograph of the room, showing the bed and the blood-stained pillow where Lincoln's head laid while he was being attended to. And on that bed is a very interesting coverlet, or Irish worsted coverlet, which has a distinct pattern to it. That coverlet was removed and taken around the country and put on display at several sanitary fairs as part of an effort to raise money to support wounded soldiers and their orphans and widows. And so we have an excellent photograph of the coverlet as it lie on the bed in the Peterson house and while it is out on display. And of the perhaps half-dozen photographs that exist of an alleged dead Lincoln lying in bed in the Peterson house, in none of them is Lincoln shown naked or his chest and shoulders bare. In every one of the photographs, the individual is fully clothed. And additionally, in none of them is this unusual patterned coverlet on the bed. This would clearly suggest that these photographs, while are of individuals who bear resemblance to Lincoln, are clearly not Abraham Lincoln lying dead in the Peterson house. The coverlet and the fact that these individuals are all fully clothed. And so I hope this information is somewhat informative to you, that you learned a little bit about the dead Lincoln photographs and can now examine or approach them knowing these particular facts of the coverlet and the fact that Lincoln was naked throughout the entire time of that he lay in the Peterson house. And so thank you for watching this little video, and in my next video I'd like to talk to you about another misconception about Abraham Lincoln, of which there are many. So thank you for looking in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.